All right. Hi, ladies. It's Allie here with WeRoam, and we have Danielle here at Global Rescue. And I wanted to make you guys this video. As you know, when you go on an expedition with us, you are required to buy Global Rescue, which is a additional insurance that we have you guys purchase for emergency cases. So I wanted to make this video with Danielle so you guys can understand what they are, why we're making you purchase it, when we're going to use them, what the safety they'll provide for us and things like that. So this is just a conversation I'm going to have with Danielle. And of course, Danielle, you can answer the above and beyond things as we go. But yeah, so to kick it off, can you tell me exactly what Global Rescue is?
Sure. So we are a medical and security advisory and evacuation company. What that looks like for your everyday traveler is on the advisory side, when you're traveling, you might have an upset stomach, traveler's diarrhea, food poisoning, you forgot a medication, lost a medication. With the advisory services, you can call in 24/7 and speak with someone on our operations team, and they'll be able to provide that advisory services to you, refer you to a medical facility or clinic if they think you need that, and then follow up and track your trending, as you continue on your trip, right? With the advisory, the goal is keep the member on their trip, right? This normally expensive trips, and we want to be able to keep members on those trips. Sometimes the injury or illness is more severe and you need evacuation. So if that's the case, Global Rescue will arrange for and pay for the cost of that evacuation to the nearest medical facility. From there, you may be treated and released, and you can go back on your trip. If not, and you need continual care, maybe you need surgery, whatever the case may be, we'll bring the member back to their home country hospital of choice for that continued care.
Perfect. Okay, so then let's look at the different insurances. We have insurances on our credit cards. We have insurances we can buy through different things. Why do we need to buy you above and beyond maybe what's already provided for us?
Yeah. So we're not an insurance company. That's a big difference between Global Rescue and what might be included in a credit card offer. So with Global Rescue, you pay a flat membership fee based on your trip. So you can get a 7-day, 14-day, or an annual if you're going to travel multiple times in the year. And you pay that one fee for the whole year, and you're eligible for the services. We will arrange for that evacuation for you if needed. We cover that cost. You just pay that flat membership fee. There's no copay, there's no deductible, nothing out of pocket. You don't have to do anything when you get home as far as payment or billing. With the more standard travel insurance or something that would be included with like a credit card, that's going to be like a traditional travel insurance where there could be a deductible or a copay. But additionally, with those services, you evacuate yourself, or you have to arrange for your own evacuation. And then once you're home from your trip, you would submit for reimbursement to the insurance company. So while you're in that medical crisis, you also have to figure out how to get yourself out of it. Where with Global Rescue, that's what we do. So you contact us and we get you out of that crisis.
And then in terms of what you guys cover, so say I'm in nowhere, Peru, and I call you, girl down, whichever, you guys come and you get me. All those costs are covered. Once I land in the hospital, that's where my traditional insurances would then take over cost-wise, correct?
Yeah, so we cover the evacuation from your point of injury or illness to that medical facility in Peru. Once you're in that medical facility, we don't cover any medical expenses. That's where you would want traditional travel insurance. And then from there, if you're evacuated then from that hospital back to your home country hospital of choice, we pick up and cover that cost again. So we cover all transport costs, where the traditional travel insurance is going to kind of cover your wallet, right? It's going to cover medical expenses, if you have any trip delay, lost luggage, things like that. We do sell third-party travel insurance that you can get, so they're together. However, it's not a Global Rescue product.
Okay, perfect. Now, I've always just been told that you guys are here for helicopter evacuations, man down, that's what it's for. But when I was chatting with Zach earlier, you guys actually cover more than that. So when do we call you? In what situation? How mild would this situation be versus how severe? Where do you come in?
Yeah. So if something happens, we provide advisory services and evacuation. So what we tell members when they purchase this membership is, we joke that we hope we don't talk to you until next year when you're up for renewal, right? We hope we don't hear from you. However, it could be something very minor, right? You're traveling and you get a sinus infection, right? It's not life or death, but you're not feeling well. I get sinus infections all the time. I can tell you I probably wouldn't want to be out touring on a bike without some antibiotics or medications. So you can call in and you'll speak to a critical care paramedic or a nurse. Depending on the country you're in, you might be able to just go into a pharmacy and pick up an over-the-counter prescription or medication. If not, you'll have to get they'll refer you to a medical clinic where you can get a prescription so you can continue on your trip, for example. The other good thing about that is the ops team will set a cadence to follow up with you or your trip leader, throughout. So they might talk to you and you're like, okay, yes, I'm going to go do what you said. I'm going to go to this medical facility. I'm going to get the antibiotics and then I'm going to rest for the night. Okay, so we'll set check-ins, right? We'll check in with you in 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours until the patient is feeling, okay, I don't need check-ins anymore. I'm feeling better and they can continue on that trip without kind of not knowing. But it could also be, more extreme where maybe you do need evacuation or maybe you don't know if you need evacuation, right? So someone crashes on their bike and they're okay, right? I'm okay. I can continue on the trip. I didn't fall that hard. I barely hit my head, whatever the case may be. They seem okay. You can call because maybe they're not really okay. Maybe symptoms are going to start after the fact. What do you have to look out for? When do you then have to call? My son does motocross. He's 6. Terrifying, but he's 6 and he does motocross and the kids practice, right? For race day. And then race day, there's no incidents during practice and race day comes and they wreck, right? The kids crash and they're kids. They want to get back on the bike and continue the race, right? They're in it for points. But sometimes it's like time out. You hit your head. Like, do you have a concussion? You feel fine now, but how are you going to feel in an hour or 2 hours? So just kind of staying ahead of that, all the way to the extreme, you crash or unconscious, you need evacuation now.
Perfect. And I know we kind of talked about this a little bit offline, but just so the ladies also know as well, like again, I've seen it, like you guys are a helicopter evacuation, like you come and you get us if it's like, hey, man down, not breathing. And you guys can help us in both cell phone service and out of cell phone service because you follow our Garmin's and our satellite technologies, right? So like you guys have coverage on us. No matter for a good chunk of the world, not all of the world is even accessible via satellite, all the world, but like you guys have eyes on us better than anyone generally would because of the technologies that we use and we pair. But just to confirm, like it's not just helicopter evacuation. If we're somewhere in a mountain and you're like, there is no helicopter landing here, you guys will take responsibility for getting us the on-ground help that we need to get someone out. Like as soon as we make that emergency call, you guys take care of getting us out. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah. So a helicopter evacuation isn't always an option. Depending on where you guys are located, time of day, weather, things like that can really affect how we're going to evacuate. So once you guys contact us that you need evacuation, man down, we need help. We gather, kind of what the scenario is, what the situation is. We already have your coordinates from your satellite devices that you're reaching out to us from. We then know where you are. We know what time it is. We know the weather. We have more realistic on the situation. So we'll evacuate you by any means possible to get you out of there and get you to medical care.
Okay. Perfect. And then I think just like so the ladies know, like how it generally will work on our end is like we all have like Garmin's or we just have satellite technology. And then what will happen, whoever's down is obviously like generally it's going to be the leader that's going to make the call. But let's say in case in like that the leader's down, it's who is safe. But what happens is we've got it connected right to our satellites. Our little devices, our inReaches or whichever, and we can actually just send it right to them. And that SOS button that you don't press by accident, that SOS button, that is what will go straight to their team, and that will then we'll have two-way messenger through those, or if they can call us, like they'll have our numbers as well, so they can either call us. But if we're out of cell phone zone, they will all do a communication through the satellites. We do message back and forth on those. So that is like just an extra guarantee that we have when we're out in middle of nowhere, and
Yeah.
need help if that is required.
Yeah, so we do, as long as there's two-way communication, it doesn't have to be voice. So it can be messaging, or it could be, you have enough satellite service for a phone call. And like I said, kind of offline, we have you guys test that before you go out. You can test it before every expedition. Hey, we're heading out, testing, right? So you test the messaging service, you test the voice service so that everyone's aware of how the device works. Yes, we received your communication, and then how the communication comes back to you. So you guys are prepared, and you're not out there like, okay, now I have this device. How do I use it? And how do I get global rescue, right? You test it ahead of time so that if something happens, you already know. All I have to do is call them, and they're going to walk me through this. They're going to get us out of here.
Yeah, and we'll have and our leaders all know how to use them. So on what we call kickoff dinner, we'll all get our Garmins, and you get assigned one and whatnot. And so we'll review all of that at the so if you're going into this, ladies, and you're like, I have no idea how to use a Garmin, don't worry. We do cover these things at kickoff dinner, so it's not completely new to you. And I hope over time we'll have some video content in our membership site where you guys can prep and view these things. But we do provide the Garmins. We will give them to you. We'll have it connected to Global Rescue. All that background work's already done for you. And then we'll review how to use them at the kickoff dinner. And your leader will be very well versed with them as well. I think that is the majority of my questions, Danielle. Now, was there anything I left out or anything else you think that we need to know about?
I don't think so. Just making sure you guys have the services before you go. You'll call in, you'll speak with a critical care paramedic or a nurse. Sometimes what we tell people is you think you're okay, or, I just have an upset stomach, but you're in a foreign country. Maybe you're not quite sure what you ate. We have someone here who traveled, one of our new account managers, and she's like, yeah, I have no food allergies. And then she went to Africa and she was allergic to spices, and she, had an allergic reaction and didn't even know. I have no food allergies, right? So sometimes it's just the reassurance talking to a Western paramedic or a nurse, right, when you're traveling, to kind of reassure you that everything's okay. We'll keep checking on you, but really we want you to stay on your trip. It's not, if the evacuation is needed, for sure, we're going to come get you. But ultimately we want everyone to stay on their trip, right, and enjoy the trip that they're on and not have to interrupt that trip. So.
And if I'm hearing this correctly, it is best practices that if something's off, whether it is just Allie crashed and she's fine, she got up, or hey, I've been having a bit of an ill tummy, but in Guatemala, that's normal. But is it really a best practice just to even communicate that with you guys, whether that be via call, via email, hey, we just want to let you know this is the situation. We'll obviously let you know when we're hey, that we're in Guatemala the 6th to the 16th or whichever. So you'll know that we got a team there. But is it best practice for us to send you those medical updates as we go, even if they seem kind of mild?
Yeah.
That's super important.
I would say yes, just because the ops guys will then follow up with you, right? Then they're already aware someone in the group is maybe not feeling well or feeling sick. They already know where you are. They'll also have an idea of where you're going next, right? They'll want to make sure you're staying hydrated or whatever the case may be. And they'll just want to kind of follow up with you so that while you feel fine today after the crash, maybe you don't feel fine when you go to sleep or when you wake up the next morning. So if they know once it happens and then things kind of turn and you're not feeling well after the fact and you call back in, they're aware something's already happened, how long it's been, the conversation they've already had with you, and now maybe symptoms are getting worse. So, you pay for the membership and those advisory services are needed. So we hope that we don't ever have to evacuate you. So if you're not feeling well, advisory is included, just call in, right? I know when I travel, it makes me feel better sometimes. I message one of our medics directly. I'm like, hey, and he just calms me down and reassures me, and I'm I'm fine. So use us,
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just have those eyes on us and that extra Western kind of wisdom wherever we go, and whichever. I know there's that reassurance piece that I think really does matter, because we do push limits in our own ways, and I think it's really great to have you guys there as a resource. I think my last question is just going to be, we generally, the ladies will buy the 14-day one, because our expeditions are generally 10 to 12 days, so they'll buy 14-day one. How far in advance can they purchase it for the specific dates they're looking to purchase for?
Yep. So some people actually call while they're boarding their plane. I don't recommend that, but you'll hear them boarding. Yeah, you'll hear them start boarding, please take a seat, doors are closing, and they're hurry up, take my credit card, we're boarding. So you can sign up as soon as they book their trip, they can call and sign up. They can wait a week, 2 weeks, they can wait closer to their trip. The important part is, so we sell the evacuation and advisory services, and then we also sell the travel insurance. When it comes to travel insurance, that sometimes has to be purchased depending on the policy within so many days of that trip deposit. That's not the case with Global Rescue. Like I said, you can buy it while you're sitting at the airport because, oh crap, I forgot to get my Global Rescue membership. Let me call them real quick. So they can call as soon as they make their deposit. They can call closer to their trip. If they call and purchase as they make their deposit, and for whatever reason their trip dates change or something comes up and they have to cancel their trip or postpone their trip, move their trip dates, all they have to do is contact us, and we can either cancel their membership and they can repurchase when they rebook the trip, or if they already have new trip dates or know they're definitely going to rebook, we just slide the trip dates out for whenever the next trip is. So they're not at a loss if they buy the membership when they book and then something comes up and they can't take the trip.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's all my questions, ladies. You guys will get a link specifically for WeRoam to purchase the Global Rescue, the membership and the support. That's all my questions though, and I just really appreciate you jumping on this call because I know lots of women are like, why are we buying on top? When do I use it? Like, I feel like I'm just like giving money away, and I wanted to make sure they knew that that's not true, and give them the information to know, like, even just like, I want, like, ladies, I just want you guys to feel like even more secure. Like, when we're doing these things, we are taking these steps to ensure that you guys are taken care of. This is just one of the many steps that we take to do that. So Danielle, I totally appreciate your time. I'm going to stop recording here unless there's anything else you would like to conclude.
Yeah, just, once they book, they can also call in and talk to our member services team, right? I have a team staffed 24/7 who've been doing this for a long time. So if they want to call and they have follow-up questions after booking their trip or watching this video, they can certainly call in and speak to anyone on my team. They're happy to answer those questions or more specific questions, different questions if they have them as they're booking the trip.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I am going to end.
Yeah, you're welcome.